We're doing one more thing, and that's an issue of our medians. One of the things that we've discussed last year, and I know we discussed it at the Canyon Country Advisory Committee board meetings, was that in several areas, the medians were looking pretty shabby. There were trees dying. I know Rick Drew put in service requests to get the trees replaced, and we got a lot of lip service, but no trees. And so the question was, why are the medians looking the way that they're looking? And so I just wondered, have you noticed that out around town or by where you live that some of those medians have missing plants or they're dead? And why should you be so concerned about it? And the reason why you should be so concerned about it was, unless you live on White Canyon, which they decided is not part of this, all the center medians in the city are funded by a landscape maintenance district, 2008-1, which collects yearly revenue from your property tax bill, and the money that's collected cannot legally be spent on anything except maintaining those medians. Okay? So the question is, if the money's there and it can't be spent anywhere else, why is it not? Why aren't the things working the way they're supposed to? In addition, right at the end of the year, the City Council approved another $500,000 for 3 contractors to inspect the existing medians and report problems back to the city. So let's understand how this works. Okay? Number one, we turn around and we say, I'm going to charge you for this stuff, and you actually pay it. And the city says, well, just following our normal business practices and so forth, we're not going to do this ourselves. We'll contract it out. So they hire contractors that are supposedly qualified to go do the work that they're supposed to be done and supposedly have a statement of work. And we're going to go and we're going to investigate that. We're going to go get the statement of work. We're going to go and find out exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Because when I asked the question, I said, aren't the maintenance people supposed to replace things when they die? Or are they just supposed to come there and pick up a few weeds and go home? So I was told, yes, they are supposed to be doing that. Well, then why do they look the way they're looking? And then it just seems to me absolutely ridiculous to have to turn around after I've hired somebody to do the maintenance to hire somebody to watch them, right? Another $500,000. You know how many? I think it was 340 part-time, half-time, part-time jobs at $20 an hour could be funded for that $500,000. And so we're funding these 3 people. We're going to find out who they are, and we're going to find out what they say they're going to do. Well, we'll keep looking at that as well. But there is some good news in all this. First of all, we know that city staff is making an effort to determine the least amount of water required to maintain median landscaping. And we know that's one of the reasons why some of the stuff has been going brown. And they're paying attention to it to some degree. And we know that they've changed their priorities, and they are going to start removing turf. At the last city council meeting, they passed the first amount of money, the first project to start removing turf and replacing it with drought-tolerant plants, which gives us a double kicker. I mean, we don't water we don't water as much as turf, and 2, we don't have to mow it. So the maintenance is less. And city staff has told us, and we're going to make sure that they follow through on what they said, that they're receptive to all of us, to all of you, all of us, informing them of landscaping and watering problems. They want to know about them. And so when we talked about it, they said, well, I have an app that you can download on your cell phone, and you could go take a picture of it, the problem, and then we'll know exactly where it is, and we can go fix it. And so we decided, well, maybe that's a good idea. We'll take a look at it. But every place we wanted to do that for center median was a no stopping zone. So how are you going to stop and take a picture? And then there were too many places to take pictures. So we took that into consideration as well. So some of the not so good news is that with all the money spent on maintenance and maintenance watching, you wouldn't think there should be a problem, right? There shouldn't be a problem if we got all the money and we're spending it. And we're finding out that many times that service requests are open for landscaping issues, the problem goes unresolved for a long period of time. Okay, so we do this. And in some cases, like Rick's case, he turned around and he put in a service request and said, replace some trees. And they said, okay, and they closed the service request. But the trees didn't get replaced. So he reminded that of Mr. Striplin, and they opened it back up. Because I don't believe that the service request should be closed before the work is complete, right? Then because we keep hearing about how fast they process this stuff. Well, they can process it really quickly because they're not doing it. So we want to make sure that doesn't transpire as well. And you know what? A lot of times people talk about how the west side gets more attention than the east side. But if we perceive we're not getting good service, and we want good service, and we want our service to improve, we got to be the squeaky wheel that keeps talking to the people at City Hall and saying, it's time to go get the job done. So we decided we're going to partner with the city. Remember we partnered with them on illegal signs for a while? Well, we're going to have a similar partnership on medians. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going out every month and picking the median of the month, because we don't want to inundate the city with this stuff. I mean, you got to give them an opportunity to fix things, so you don't want to give them everything at once. So we're going to go out every month, and we're going to be videoing a median area that's in need of maintenance. And then we're going to present the video to the staff. I actually tried to attach it to an e-service request, and it wouldn't take it. I'll try again. But we did. We went to and presented it in person to Ken Striplin, and we know that he passed it down to Kevin Tenoyan, and I know that Kevin watched it and knows the area, and it's pretty hard not to know it when you can see it in writing, in visual ways that way. And then we're going to do what we did before. We're going to keep statistics on time to repair. Okay? So, I mean, you would say, you wouldn't think that, you're going to give them a video and it's instantly going to be fixed. But there should be some reasonable amount of time. A month? 2 months? 3 months? You get into 4 months, I would say we're at a reasonable time and we need to start hounding them about it constantly. So here we did the first effort. Rick and I went out and we videoed Solid Canyon Road from Sand Canyon to Shadow Pines. And we presented it to Ken Striplin at a meeting on February the 2nd at his office. So that's the starting point to see what's going on. Here we are. You can hear us driving. We're going. Labeled. Got the date. And so just so there was no question about what was happening, we added freeze frames. Here you go. See all the plants that are missing? Okay.
Oh, look at that, 6.
See more plants missing? Now, I could bore you for the next 6 minutes, and you could go all the way down with us, all the way down, and this video stops every little bit. And we didn't just pick out when one plant was missing. It was when lots of plants were missing. So you have to remember, it's important that we all sit there and get together. This is our city. It doesn't belong to the staff. It's our city. And we're paying. The city sold us the idea that they were going to landscape the medians, make everything gorgeous, and we're paying for it. So in order to keep those medians in good condition, we need to speak up and make sure that our voices are heard, and we intend to do it. So every meeting from now on, we'll add another video, and we'll add the statistics of whether the first one was fixed. And if they don't get fixed in what we consider a reasonable time, the group will be sitting there at the council meeting, hounding the council as to why in the world they're spending all of this of our money and not getting the job done. Anybody have any questions? Huh?
Would petitions help?
Would the what help?
Get your neighbors to sign a petition that they're not doing what they should.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The more people that acknowledge that there's a problem, and there is a problem. I mean, we didn't make that up, right? So there is a problem, and it's all across the city right now, more so on the east side, but all across the city. And if we're going to pay for this stuff, and at the same time that some of it isn't being maintained, we're building new ones, right? So, how long ago, Rick, was that area done? Last time?
Almost 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, they redid the whole east side Canyon Country, Shadow Pines to Crossblade, I think it was.
All right, and I know that Via Princesa is only a couple years old. We'll do that one next month. You can go down there. You can see the same thing. So and if you come this way from Sand Canyon, it gets worse. So it's time that we start making noise. We start being heard. Let the city do their job, what they're supposed to be doing. And I don't think it's an unfair thing to ask them at all. I mean, it's we pay for it. We should get that kind of service. Did Steve have a question?
Where do you think the plants went? So it's primarily missing plants?
They die, and when they die, what's going on right now is they die, and when they die, the maintenance people pull them out. So they pull out dead plants, and they don't replace them. Now, shouldn't that be part of the maintenance activity? Mr. Striplin tells me that it is. So I got to tell you what, if you want to see the difference of when people make noise about what's going on, walk into City Hall and just walk in the door from the east side parking lot and look at the landscaping right there. I mean, I've gone there on Fridays and seen the landscaping guys there watering, replacing plants, doing all kinds of stuff. Well, why are they doing that? That's because their boss is right there. Okay? Well, why aren't they doing it out on Soledad? Because their boss isn't there. They don't realize that guy in City Hall, not their boss. You're their boss. Right? So the only way that we're going to get this done is to make noise.
Does the $500,000 for the inspection of the medians come from the landscape maintenance district?
Yes, it does.
Money?
Yes, it does.
Seems like it would make more sense to just buy the plants than.
Well,
why don't they have like a city employee drive his truck around?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. See, here's the deal. Here's the deal. If they're going to pay $500,000 a year for this, we ought to bid on it next year. The Canyon Country Advisory Committee ought to bid on it, right? I mean, we can do a great job. Right? And actually, I think I can undercut that. So, yes, sir. So we're going to keep this up. There's some information about this that's still undefined, and I know tonight we gave you a lot of things to think about where we didn't have the total and complete answer yet. But this is a situation where I want to find out who those three contractors are, because I tried to look up the three contractors that are doing the monitoring. I could only find one on the internet. I couldn't find the other two companies. So I'm going to put in a public records request. I'm going to ask for their return for the RFP, for their return to the art friend, and their response that won them the contract. And that way we'll know who they are and exactly what they're going to go do. And then we also do the same thing for the maintenance guys and hold them accountable to do what we pay them to do.